Okay, I mentioned in one of my videos that I was gonna start the process of amending my garden. I've been planting in the same location for many years, and after a while you need to amend your soil. I do want to try to grow as organic as possible, so I do have just got one load of this. Is just like a sandy clay soil. It's kind of similar to the soil that's out here. It's a little redder than what's out here. I got more of a brownish clay sandy loam soil, but I'm gonna use this load right here to build it up back here in the back, because it does, if we get a lot of rain, it'll hold water back here, and I want to be able to utilize this whole garden. And so back here I usually don't plant anything, because I know if we get a lot of rain, whatever I plant back here is gonna hold water and it's gonna die, because you need good drainage for vegetables. So I'm gonna spread this dirt. First load, I'm gonna kind of spread it back out in here to like I say, build it up in here, so I can again use the plant more vegetables in this area. And also I have another load coming, and it's a rich topsoil, and it has a mushroom compost built into it. It's a most people call it black magic or black silk or super soil. So if you have a people in your area that sell topsoil or landscape materials, or sell dirt, then they'll probably have something similar, and they'll probably call it something similar to that. It just, like I say, has topsoil in it, and it has like most people use a mushroom compost, and they will add a little sand into it. So most gravel yards or gravel pits or landscape companies I have that. I'm hoping I should start getting better results on my vegetables, and not have to use so much fertilizer, and like I say, start going as organic as possible. So anyway, I'm gonna show you how I spread everything out, and then I'm gonna get my turnover plow, and then I'm gonna just turn and mix everything together. And I am really looking forward to seeing what this amendment does. So I'll be right back when they bring in the mushroom compost. As promised, here's the mushroom compost. Got this dump truck smooth. A little bit closer look at the topsoil compost. I can smell it. It actually smells a little bit like cow manure. It's basically how I was expecting it to look. So I'm satisfied with it. I think it'll be good, and I think it'll be good for the garden. So I'll just come back and just let you see it after I spread it out. And after I spread it out, I'll probably let it sit for a while, and I'll come back with my tractor and with my turnover plow, and then just kind of turn it all in. But all right, step one is out of the way. Okay, I just want to quickly show how it look. I'm finished spreading the dirt out. Like I said, I spread the clay out in the back to build it up back there, and I spread out the topsoil. So I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Still kind of damp out here, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give it a chance to dry out some, and then once it dry out and it get a little more solid out here, I'm gonna come back with my disc plow, and I'm just kind of gonna disc it up and chop that topsoil mix it into the native dirt, and then also hopefully it'll help kind of flatten and even things out too as I go over it with that disc plow. And I was able to salvage my kale here. It was in the way, it made it a little tougher trying to maneuver around this kale, so I had to pull it up, but stuck with it and left it in place. But I'm pretty happy with it. I'm looking forward to it. I think once I get everything situated, I'll hopefully be able to utilize the whole garden, and I should have some at least 100-foot rows of things. So that'll hopefully allow me to have do my winter garden on one side and my fall garden on the other side by utilizing the whole garden. That way I don't have to, I give one side a chance to rest and recuperate instead of using the whole garden. I'm pretty happy with it so far. Okay, here it is March. Finna get everything prepped for the summer garden. So I got everything chopped up. So I got all the compost, mixed in pretty good, as you can see. And I got it kind of flattened out as well. I use my disc plow. I just been going over it, just chopping it up, getting that topsoil down into the dirt, native dirt. So you can see it looking pretty rich. I got a little less. It's a little more clay back here because I got more. That's why I put that clay in, and I got a little less compost back here. So it's, I've been having to go over it to get it kind of fine, but I think it's gonna do well, and I'm excited to have it kind of high back here so I can use the whole garden as I stated before. But anyway, I'm gonna keep chopping it up a little bit better, and I'll come back in and put my rows in, and we'll plant some vegetables. I don't even know what I'm gonna plant yet. Good day, everybody. I wanted to give a quick update on how everything is growing. Everything seems to be going pretty good. Seems like I see a little bit boost in productivity since the amendment. The tomato plants are taking off. I planted these at the end of March, maybe first part of April. Here it is, the 1st of June, and I've gotten plenty of tomatoes off of them. Hadn't had any blossom rot. They're dark green foliage on them. Hadn't did too much treatment on them as far as pesticides, and so I need to maybe do that. But we're finna get some rain, so I'm gonna wait till after the rain leaves. But they're doing very well. I see a little bit of increased production in the tomatoes. The squash is I guess time will tell, because usually they're starting to put around the squash out. Matter of fact, I picked a little bag of squash and I got a few more to pick. And usually once I pick that first round of squash, the plant will usually start taking off, and we finna get some rain, so usually they'll get a little boost after that rain. But they seem to be doing pretty good as well. I hadn't had any blossom rot, so on anything so far. Everything is imperfect like that right there. So seems like it's a little slower back here where it's more clay at and not as much compost. So if I did a comparison, this is probably how it was growing throughout the whole year before the amendment, how it is back here. But it's doing pretty good. Had quite a bit of getting some good production out of these cucumbers, like a pickling cucumber. Matter of fact, I just picked a little bag of cucumbers, so hopefully I'll get a boost in production on these. I did douse a little water on them because I didn't want to wait for the rain to come to get them a little bit more of a boost. So I planted a little row of watermelons right here. They're going a little slow, but I think they need a lot of water. So once we hopefully get a good rain in, then they'll start to take off as well. So, but so far so good. Just want to give a little update on how everything is going. I give one more update, and like I said, the amendment is gonna tell, because it's the compost that's in the soil. As I continue to work it inside the soil, and as it continues to break down, it's gonna continue to make the soil richer and better. So I wasn't expecting to get full potential the first year. So maybe after my second or third year, after this compost that's in the soil, breaks down even more and becomes a part of the soil, I expect it to be even better. So, but so far so good. One quick thing I want to add too is my fruit, I notice, is a little bit better. My tomatoes are even in color, almost like the ones you see in the store. So before, it was they'd have a lot of like little stains in them, and just they would look like tomatoes that came out your garden, whether in the store. But these tomatoes look more store bought. So I have seen a little bit increase in quality in my fruit as well. right, just a quick update. I think maybe about 2 weeks later, everything is bumped out thanks to, like I said, I see an improvement in the soil conditions out here with the amendment. And then also we've gotten some good rain over the last 2 weeks. So the watermelon vines, as soon as they've gotten that water, they shot out and they got some nice little watermelons growing on them. The okra is doing well. It's outperforming. I got an okra video out there and it's just outperforming the okra from that video by far. And the tomatoes are still doing great. It's putting out like crazy. The okra is putting out like crazy. I've been harvesting it left and right. I gotta do another round of harvesting here in a little bit. Every 2-3 days I come out and can pick up quite a bit of okra. But as you can see though, tomatoes are just killing it. This is the best tomato year I've had in a long time. So I contribute that to the soil conditions. The squash is doing great. I've been harvesting a lot of squash. It's doing what it's supposed to do. And pepper plants, excellent. Harvest a lot of peppers. More squash over here that I planted a little late, but it's doing well. And back there I got some cucumbers and they're doing fine. Need to go ahead and harvest a few more cucumbers. I'm finna get ready to pickle some cucumbers. So been real happy so far. Where it's clay back here and it's not so much compost, and I brought that clay in, if you remember at the beginning of the video. Seems like it's not as potent back here, but it's still doing fine. Like I said, it's gonna get better as this compost, as you'll see, as it continues to get into the soil. And I got some over here when it rains a lot, some of it floats to the top. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna, get all this compost thrown back in the center, and I'm gonna turn it over in the fall. And as it continues to break down into the soil and becomes part of the soil, it's gonna get even richer and richer. So this is only the beginning of the it's only gonna get better from here for the next 2-3 years, as that, like I said, as that compost breaks down the soil. So I'm very excited about it. It's well worth the effort. Okay, I want to go over the cost of doing an amendment like this. I got a good deal on the soil. I got a 20-yard load. Now my garden is about 50 by 100. So if you got a garden that's somewhere in that range, maybe a minimum of 25 by 75, you probably will benefit from a 20-yard load of dirt, because anything like that is probably not you're gonna be compost heavy in one area, and you're not gonna be able to spread it out throughout the whole garden. So if you got a large garden and somewhere in that range, 25 by 100 or 25 by 75, or like this one right here is about 50 or 60 by 100, 110. You definitely want a 20-yard load of dirt. And I paid $6.75. Now I did check around most garden places, or most people who specialize in dirt for the garden, or compost or mulch. They were about $1,000 for a 20-yard load. Now their dirt did look more richer, or did look darker, and probably had more compost in it. So it's one of those things where you get what you pay for. So that's why my load was, if you remember, was not quite as dark, but I still was happy with it. And if you have an option like that in your area and you got a large garden and you want to save a little bit of money, you can go with a cheaper load that may not have as much compost in it. It may have more sand and topsoil in it. I think you still be fine. But you can look to spend anywhere from $700 to $1,000 for a load of compost, 20-yard load. If you got a smaller garden, or if you got raised beds, and you're looking at a 25 by 50 garden, you could probably get away with a 10 or a 15-yard load, and you probably be looking at about half of that cost for a 10-yard load. And then that load of clay that you saw me, that was $200 for that load. That's why I call myself saving a little money by building it up with some clay. Now if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have got something a little bit more suitable, like some topsoil for about $350. It would have been a better overall investment to spend about $150 more for some topsoil. I didn't look at the soil before I bought it. I just went on description. So if you're in a situation where you look at the topsoil or the compost before you buy it, that'll be the best option, so you know exactly what's going to arrive. So I didn't do that, but I'm still overall happy with what I did. I can see a vast improvement. So I hope if you've been gardening in one area for a lot of years, then you may want to consider amending your soil, because when you plant in the same location all the time, it can't pull nutrients from your soil unless you give it a year or two to rest. But if you are an avid gardener, you're probably going to plant every year in the same spot. Now I do plan on utilizing half the garden for my winter garden and the other half for the summer. Over here where I grew the watermelons, I'll probably focus on my winter garden over here. But over here where I got a lot more stuff growing, a lot more nitrogen heavy type plants, plants that need a lot more, nutrients to grow fruit, I'm probably gonna let it rest. But anyway, I hope this helped you. I hope it encouraged you to amend your soil. Just wanted to take a quick second to show some of my harvest. I've gotten tons and tons of tomatoes this year. And then, like I said, the quality of my vegetables, even these little pickling cucumbers, but the quality of the vegetables and the squash, just been impeccable. Had very little blossom rot. So again, I just wanted to show you that, and thanks again for watching.